I know. Don't even say anything. Ah! Hold on. I'm here, bitches. I couldn't find my eyelash glue and I panicked. My eyeliner's looking a little wonky. Broke my eyebrow pencil. Eyebrows looking a little wonky, but we're doing it. Okay. I made it. I have to fix this eyebrow. I even tried to get the video downloaded 2 hours before. Didn't work, so it's fine. It's fine, I'm fine. So what we'll do instead is just share it. It's not my favorite way of doing it, but I don't think it changes anything for y'all. Is my voice shaky? Or I think it's the mic. Support your bitch. Okay, sponsor a bad bitch. Cash App. YouTube only pays out once a month, unfortunately. I really want to get a new mic. I made I'll tell you why the mic is doing what it's doing. I wasn't sure for like 6 months, but once I got the extension, the cord, a new cord to plug my preamp into whatever, all of that, and it's still doing this weird shakiness. It makes me sound nervous, but I'm not. I was like probably about a year ago when I got another Rodecaster and a boom arm, which actually was given to me by Tony. Forgot to say that before. When I was removing the mic from my old boom arm, because I'm a bitch who lost most of my motor skills in my hands from bartending, I cross-threaded that shit. I did. I'm pretty sure I did. So what could go wrong when you cross-thread? Well, it gets worse. It can make this wobbly, but the issue is that it's wobbly under here. How the fuck is it like that? So I thought when I took this mic off, when you look into it, it looks like a gold washer. It's not a washer, but I thought it was. So I tried to get that out. So just imagine how much all on that shit. But it gets even worse when I realized I can't get this washer out. Mind you, I had been going on Reddit trying to see if it was even a piece. So I wasn't like that dumb. It's like maybe it's a part of it. And every thread that I saw said you could try like W40, whatever. So I was like, okay. Took it to a Home Depot and I was like, I'm gonna just ask a man for help. Duh. And so I found a man and I knew as soon as like the words were just leaving my mouth, this man is very intoxicated. Former bartender, okay? Very, very intoxicated while putting up the tools on the whatever you call it. So this man's stumbling down. I'm like, bitch, you should have gone to like the fucking bathroom area or wherever they sell whatever. God damn it. And so this man takes a pair of vice grips. Sounds like me, but it wasn't. I always use those. I don't know why. He took a pair of vice grips, took a knife. I was like, why do you need the vice grips? I'm so confused. But it was to hold the thing in place. Literally choked. he literally takes out like a box knife. And you know how I was saying how he's putting new inventory just like onto a new. Is that allowed? Any Home Depot employees, is this allowed? And you just like box cut. I'm like, sorry, you could have just used the box. Whatever. Takes like, I don't even know what you would call that. It looked like a sharp. Oh god. What are these called? Where it's like close it. He took this, something like it, similar. I was like, why are you pressing down on that thing? I must know. And literally, vice grips in one hand to like stabilize it. I was like, sir, there's a table. There's a table. And just like turned around from me and was doing it. So like his back was to me and I was like, you dumb fucking bitch. We don't have money in my head to like make up for this intoxicate. Love the energy, love the determination, but like it was in that moment that I was like, you know what, this is probably not a good idea. He got it to me. It didn't look that fucked up. He's like, sorry, I can't. I'm like, damn, I've never heard a man whisper those words. Darn. No, I was like thankful. I I forget when I realized like, you know what, it's probably fine. I forgot when I realized it, but at some point I did. Didn't think for the most part the audio's fine until the other day when I was putting this thing on and I opened it. What do you call? It's not it's almost like it's not cross-threading, but it's like a washer, right? So there's like a donut hole. What do you call it when the donut hole gets exceptionally wider? Okay, that's what she said. Stretched. But literally, it's like as if I had been fucking with this and it just kept making the hole worse. And so now I think that's why. That's my story. Okay, let's just go right into the video. Phrasing, is that what it's called? I'm blaming it on the man at Home Depot who was clearly intoxicated. Reeked of Captain Morgan. Kenny. But they have a used one since I live in fucking Bumblefuck. They have a used one at Guitar Center for, I think because the new Shure SM7BD or whatever came out, which is $499, which we could get that one. I just don't need a cloud lifter, which is pretty much the only added thing. It's like I don't even think it's a compressor. No, it's not. What do you call the cloud lifter? Like the cloud lifter is the only thing I know that does this. So I don't know, but whatever. Essentially, it makes it long story short, this mic is a dynamic mic. If you're looking at the volume settings on like a preamp, it goes up to 45, but it's quiet because it really only focuses sound here. So if you want to start a YouTube channel, but you're embarrassed that other people are going to hear you or your sound is going to be picked up, it's probably a good mic for you. However, people will also get a cloud lifter. And it's so interesting to me because these tech gurus or whatever will talk about how you need it. And I'm like, damn, damn. Like I thought influencers in the beauty industry were the ones that kind of lied. But damn, it be happening by the boys too. I remember asking Tony, who is like tech god. He also has a YouTube channel, The Three Techs. And he was like, no, you don't need it. Okay. Just like sound treat your room or talk really close to it. I was like, okay. Anyway. So there's a used one, which I don't know how much I trust that. And it's like $2.99 or $3.99. No, $3.99 is how much it costs normally. So it's probably $2.99. And apparently it's in excellent condition. I personally never sell my stuff. I have a lot of equipment. I never sell it back anywhere. Should I vape? No, I don't think so. I just don't trust myself. I have that one Roadcaster where I have to like cauterize some import. I don't even think I can do that. The pins are too ragged. Like it would be fucked up. I don't know. I'll give it to somebody for free. And hey, if you want to spend the money to fix it, good. But like I use my equipment until it's broken. That's with everything in my life. Ever since starting YouTube, I had to give up so much. I used to be more like, okay, the wire's tapping out, we better start saving, and then, like, then do it. But no, now it's like chaos. And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." But sometimes you gotta give up. Shit, this better pay off, I swear. It will. It's just taking a very long time. Anyway. Anyway, or use a USB audio interface that has it's not as good. In my opinion, I get it, but honestly, right now, the things that are malfunctioning are my um, USB whatever, USB-B, yeah, like your typical into an old school computer. Those are always the things that fail on me first. And XLR cords, setups, anything that goes through an XLR to a preamp creates better audio. I don't know why that is. I don't know if the channels are dealing with multiple things when it's just the USB. I have no fucking idea. I do know the XLR cords suck ass, in my opinion. It's not that they suck, it's that you have to be really delicate with them, and I'm not a delicate person. I never was. You should see what happens when I get a package delivered to me. Why don't you open the box nicely? The box did nothing for me, okay? Fuck the box. I don't put caps back on. It's like chaos. Okay. Um, okay. It's what happens when you grew up poor and every resource is valuable. Yeah. Yeah. XLR is primarily to avoid ground hum picking up noise in line. Yeah. This house is built, I think, on top of concrete, and the only reason I say that is because why do I think that? I don't know, there's a reason I do, I just can't think of it. I don't know if my dad said it to me or something. I just concrete. Um, but everything else feels really thin. Like, if I really wanted to sound treat this room in particular, I probably would start with the door. The door would probably do a lot, actually. Have you guys ever seen in recording studios how they're in a recording studio and then they gotta walk into the actual singing area where the mic is and stuff? Having double doors significantly reduces noise, significantly. But the heavier the door, the less likely. I mean, it makes sense. I could kick down this door, my foot would go right through it, and I'm tiny, teeny tiny. So I've considered getting one of those industrial ones just because the way that the house is shaped, it's like you walk out and then you turn and there's another room and then there's the front door. So I'm really close to outside. I wanted the other room, but it was bigger and it wouldn't make sense. I live with my parents. It had a bathroom in it. I was like, I never want to leave. But the floor, obviously, the carpet, my extensions are better than this carpet. Okay. Like, this carpet, you just, I don't know. Have you ever been on a nice vacation? You get out of bed and they have like super fluffy carpet, maybe like an Airbnb in a really nice area. This it's like I can feel my foot going into like not like quicksand. It's just so hard. Like I used to sleep on the floor at my childhood home. We had a really big house. I used to sleep on the floor. It was so comfortable. If I did that here, it just wouldn't be comfy. Okay. Hello. Hello. XLR is not delicate. You're just abusive. Fair, honestly. Fair. I mean, I have to have the audio in front of me. And so where you plug it in is behind the amp. So it just starts. I mean, I guess I could actually, I probably should flip it around and just learn to do it backwards, but I don't know, one wrong like swoosh and you can hear my mom singing about frogs. Okay, so I used to be embarrassed about it, but now I just kind of think it's funny. I'm looking forward to her coming home. Okay. But we're not talking about my mom and her singing frogs or about floors. We can talk about that stuff later. I know we were going to do a video on equipment starting a YouTube channel in 2024, which, if you haven't yet, is probably the time. A lot of people got demonetized, okay? You know what I mean? But today's video is about how would society be without men? We're going to look at the.
Okay.
Let me make sure this audio. Here we go. This is the Whatever podcast. Got Brian, Andrew. I still don't know. I should have looked that up. I don't know who this man is. I think he's a friend of Andrew, maybe. Then we got the Hens. Same group as yesterday. Farha. I don't know if the girl in red is like a activist for feminism. I'm not sure. Yesterday, she lost me a little bit with the debate, but she was friendly and likable. Okay. Farha being Farha. Okay. Disagreeable bitch like myself. Love it. Love it. Talks very quickly, and I have a hard time, so we're going to stop it in between. Let's go. How would society be without men in it? Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'd be dressing real slutty if they weren't here, okay? I got to tone it down.
Okay. The world according to a feminist, all those, look at those women, and then there's the guy, the homeless guy, privileged. Oh, okay, all right. That's.
But you have to understand, though, that all of the systems are set up for him.
Yeah, apparently.
They are, and the fact that he
next.
failed is incredible.
Oh my God. That's,
I guess, okay,
If it worked like that.
So-
I mean, like, just no notes.
Well, hold on. First off, there's affirmative action for women. So
that's a
What-
system that benefits
that's a
women.
Thank God.
what system helps men? It's not clear to me. Here, pull up.
Yeah.
There's more. There's more. Nick.
The Constitution.
White male privilege.
The
Whoa,
Constitution.
whoa. Let's be careful there.
All right.
What in the Constitution benefits white men
All men
specifically?
are created equal.
Wait,
Does
but
that
what,
not include
what do
black
you guys
men?
think about this? This is
At the time, it's
At the time,
not.
it didn't.
D-Day.
At the time,
D-Day
the
land.
five
Okay.
fifths thing was.
Is anybody noticing
Mine
that?
That's not-
also-
that's
Men
not
were,
in
point,
the
were
Constitution.
3/4 of men, and black men became
Okay,
men
Anybody
let's-
later
noticing
on.
the
If you want to talk about
At
the
time,
intent,
it also didn't
Okay,
include
we'll come
white
back
men.
to it. We'll
It
come-
included some white men. That's it.
so if we
Didn't
talk
include
about
all
the
of them.
intent of the founding fathers, the intent, and you can go to Thomas Jefferson's letters to specific individuals talking about how he wanted to make the language in the Constitution more broad to include literally every single person.
Well, he was an abolitionist.
Yeah, and so exactly, he was an abolitionist. He hated slavery, and he actively tried to release all of his slaves, but was legally not allowed to do so
Mhm.
until he died, in which he did. So there is this like pervasive verbiage in usually the left side of the political spectrum that likes to paint the founding fathers as extremely racist and writing the Constitution as something to oppress minorities and oppress the specific gender, so women, which is not the case. You have them with the intent to release those people of those.
Love you. Okay. Don't know your name, sir. Okay, but I'm on your side. Be very cautious before you say something like that. One of the issues that I see when I see debates specifically on the Whatever podcast, okay, specifically with no hate, but every way that men, like with exception to Andrew, but Andrew also does this sometimes. Like he's not like off the hook 100%, but there's an entitlement and an ignorance that men have when they talk specifically about like women and men issues dating back to like whenever the fuck. Okay. I don't know, like it comes off racist, which you're like, Tori, how the fuck? Well, the fact that you don't see it, entitlement, Okay. I'm not saying that you are. I'm not saying that you mean to do that. I'm just saying this is how it translates. So it's going to make people like zone out. A lot of people think that the red pill, the incel, all of this stuff is like predominantly white. And actually, it's like very diverse, if not favoring like minorities. So if you didn't know that, now you know. But just it would be so easy to dispute everything that you just said. I don't want to. I'm just saying. When you disregard or fight back on some of the things that women say, it translates in a bad way to men and women, men of minorities, and so forth. Torrie, what the fuck are you talking about? Intersectionality, period. Okay. Something that a white man deals with and a black man are different. Well, we freed the slaves. Bro, come on. Come on. Like, don't make me strap you to a fucking chair and make you watch that Netflix documentary, okay? It's just, don't piss me off, okay? I want you to go on these podcasts like, fuck, I don't want Torrie to fucking roast me, okay? Love you.
Systemic oppressions that they experienced in other countries. So, like in England, I mean, religious oppression, the slave trade, all of those things. They wrote the verbiage in the Constitution so that eventually we would get to a point where we're sitting here today where people would be able to read that verbiage and see all men are created equal. And we can sit here and know
Thank you, Kate.
that they meant all men are created equal.
Man.
There's some more photos. You didn't even see that second photo. Nick, if you can pull up the photo. Thank you, Kate, for the 10 membership.
Ow.
White. We often hear male privilege, white privilege. You know what? I think every feminist should watch All Quiet on the Western Front and
Great
then
movie.
decide if there's male privilege. Wait, there's more photos. We got more photos. That's the D-Day landing. That was, I don't know if that's,
I mean,
okay. Wait.
to be fair to that one, there was a lot of black men who fought in World War II.
That is true. I'm not trying. I just yes, there were. There was.
Beautiful. We like him. Torrie, you simp for Andrew. No, Andrew's just right. Okay. I like when people are intellectually honest and point things like that out, because I don't know if he notices it, but like white privilege and then like it was created for all. It sounds stupid, with all due respect. And there's nothing worse than a man who is ignorant to powers that he does have. It's just cringy, you know?
The Harlem Hellfighters in World War One, and yeah. Nick, pull up the please. There's this chat here. I'll just read. They have done the studies on the DNA test. Wait, no.
Sean.
Okay, never. Just pull up the photo. I'll read it later. The world, according to a feminist, oppressed, privileged.
Yeah, that's also
Thoughts?
true. There's actually a lot of truth in
The
that.
theme of these photos is just the
There's so much.
there's just the complete
What's that?
like degradation of nuance. They
Nuance.
just lack nuance in its entirety, because the whole aspect of like oppression versus privilege, when you speak about privilege, people like to hyper focus on the standard definition of privilege being about like how much money you have, like how much access you have to resources, things like that, wherein privilege, much like much of the English language, is a word that can have multiple meanings. And in this context, privilege is more about the societal, systematic aspect, which is a generality and not down to the individual. And these are focusing on like.
Before you write her off as just prattling, she's not wrong. That was actually a good thing to say. Sometimes, like black and white thinking, or thinking it's all one way or another, is very like low intelligence, if you will. It's low thinking. If you think that feminism is the reason for all of your issues as a man today, easy. Okay. I'm going to talk about, because I talked about it in another show too. I'm going to talk about it again. How men's disadvantages in terms of like feminism, female, whatever you want to call it, it's all on the surface. Well, it's below the surface, but it's not necessarily like in the legal system. It's not like when I hear them saying, and they didn't just now, but like when we talk about rights, like what rights do women have that men don't? Shit like that. It's like that's a very slippery slope to go down because the things that affect you are they're not going to be headlines on a paper, and that was all by design, baby. Okay, I'll read it in a second, but I just want to say I know what she's saying is kind of like here we go with the nuance, but it's important that when you have a video that goes out to a large group of people that you acknowledge it, because like I've said in many videos, some people will take what you say on the very far side and turn it radical, delusional, if you will. Okay? So just I know.
The individual stereotypes and archetypes.
So you're
Well,
calling it an
So
ecological
So
fallacy.
everyone start talking at once.
Yeah.
But
Are you basically calling it an ecological fallacy?
I don't want to say yes because I'm not sure what that means. Can you
That what
clarify?
when you take the individual and then you attribute it to the general populace?
Okay, well then
Yeah.
I would say yes. I'm just not familiar with the term.
Are you talking about apex fallacy?
No, it's ecological.
You notice how it's a black man that brought that up? Remember what I said before? Pay attention.
Yeah,
Ecological.
Give me
Logical?
ecological. It's the
I've not
ecological
heard that one.
fallacy.
Okay.
I'm not
Where,
Oh,
like,
okay, I can see
yeah,
how the word
it's-
derives.
yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Mhm.
that makes sense to
Oh,
me. That,
okay.
yeah,
Okay.
that sounds right.
Well,
but I
here,
just-
pull up the last photo and then we got the last one.
My point to that was that like taking that one person, comparing it to a population, that's what like that's the smart way to do it. Intersectionality, being like, okay, this person amongst other, you know what I mean? Obviously, it's like
I think there's one more. We got one more.
Hold
Scroll up, make it bigger. Yep. So I don't know.
stop
lot of truth in that
oppressing.
one, too.
Okay, that
Stop
one's
oppressing
funny.
me.
Sorry.
You know.
These men have never been verbally eat-parred by construction men, and it shows.
Male privilege.
One time I was bartending. Sorry, it haunts me, so I feel like I need to talk about it. There was this man. He was toothless. He had one tooth. He was getting a Bud Light, okay? And literally, the nice thing about bartending is you have a bar in between you, but this man got so close over the bar, just like, I want to take your and I was like, ew, ew, Dad, what the fuck? It haunts me to this day. So, looks like you haven't had a man do that to you, and it fucking shows.
And even
I
apologizing
don't
for
think
something
so.
he didn't do wrong.
Because class privilege
Yeah.
and oppression is not about race,
Well,
but
no,
they
the
all are
point-
factors within each other.
The point isn't that he's at work. The point is the kind of work he's doing.
Mhm.
The kind of work he's doing is not the kind of work that women do pretty much ever, anywhere, at any time, for any reason.
Oh.
That's the privilege. So the privilege is, are you systematically oppressed while your sewers are taken care of for you, while you have air conditioning, while you live in modernity and all modern technology, and every dangerous fucking job on planet Earth is done by men? Is that oppressive?
Having a baby is a pretty dangerous job.
No, it's
respectfully.
not. It's a very safe
How
job
are you going to say that?
Shame on
because
you.
I can look at
Shame on you, Andrew. Do you guys know that we're pretty much, I'm sure there's more, but arguably one of the only species that is not evolved to have childbirth? This is why I think it's absolutely hilarious when people will argue that having babies with a woman who is younger is a safer, better bet, when it is not true. It is not true. Our birth canal gets mature, sorry. After 26, something like that, like later, 30, whatever. And What was I going to say? We are like the only species that is not evolved to do this. Have you ever noticed when like a horse gives birth and that thing comes out running? It's running. It's got legs, like legs. And it's like, what the fuck? Well, humans, we give birth to our offspring, if you will, too early. Too early. But we also if it came out any bigger, we would have more deaths. Like our birth canals have not evolved with our big heads. You can find information on this when you look up. I think it's called bipedalism. I can Google it actually. Bipedalism, which is essentially why our canals or pelvic opening is smaller. It's because we evolved to grow or to walk on two legs. We had to walk very far distances. So it's always so funny to me. Not funny, but it's like that makes women kind of badass, low key. Something that, and I don't say this as like a aha, got you. It's just to be mindful of what could come your way in order to strengthen your argument. I'm sure you could find something. Something else that women deal with, well, on top of that, actually, birth is traumatic. It's traumatic because we have not evolved to where it's comfortable. I think we will get there, especially with the advent of something like AI. Like our brains are not going to be, they're not going to have to be that big. So, like, honestly, just it's not the most intelligent way of putting it, but at some point it'll probably get there. But something else that I don't know if like men are super I don't know if it's really talked about yet, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know if I've seen it on really either side, if I'm watching my own videos or watching videos for clients or whatever. But when it comes to what oppression do men face, what oppression do women face, one of the things that women face that is very real, it's not a conspiracy, it's not any of that. It's the how we get treated in the healthcare system. This still affects me to this day. And it goes beyond, they don't take us seriously. No one does. Okay. But especially doctors, you would argue that that would be unethical. Oh, it gets worse. Just wait. The way that women give birth is set up for the comfort of the doctor and not the woman. We already are not evolved to comfortably give birth. We just aren't. That's crazy to me. Crazy. Aside from that, prior to when I was 18, I don't know, it changed apparently recently. And I know that because I went to my GP. But when I was 18, because I started to date, I had to get a what we call a pap smear or whatever at the gyno every year. It didn't matter if you had new partners. You had to get it every year now from the rest of your life. When I was 18 and 19, my parents never had us on any insurance or anything. So, well, actually, we had like all kids, which was like public aid. And I had that up until I was about, I think it was 19. Okay, so anyways, so because of this, when I was at the doctor to do the pap smear, I had to go to like the female clinic that was in a hospital. And so it was impossible to get an appointment, first of all, because it's busy, but whatever. So I went there and I've talked about the other story. I'm not going to go into it, but the thing that goes inside of you is absolutely torturous if I don't say so myself. But because I was in a clinic, it wasn't, do you mind if we have students come? It was, we're going to have students come. This is a teaching hospital. Okay. So I didn't get a say in that. But you know what? I was like, okay, I'll deal with this mentally. It's fine. Then the students performed part of it. And I already find this thing to be incredibly traumatic, whatever. Absolutely horrifying. Come to the next year, okay? And now when I get up on the table, I can't put my legs on on stirrups or whatever. And now I I will cry. And it's like, what the fuck? That's interesting. Last month. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, what the fuck? So it's gotten to the point where it causes so much distress where they have finally given me like, here, you need to do this. I need you to get up in there and do it there, and I'll be back and put it into the test tube. It's gotten to the point where I have to do that now. So, Tori, that's not that big deal. It gets worse. It gets worse. I'm just giving you my experience. It gets worse. Now, women who get surgery under general anesthesia, it doesn't matter what the fucking surgery is. When you sign off on that, you're signing off as if it's a teaching hospital. Like I was telling you, if it's a teaching hospital, they have the right to perform a pap smear on you while you're asleep. You're like, well, whatever, you're asleep. How would you like if somebody was checking out your junk? Oh, wait, it's not inside of you. So women that maybe have issues when it comes to sex, maybe they're frightened by it. I don't know. There could be so many things that come from it that she's not even aware of. So what fucks me up is that there's hospitals, now that you know my story and now you know that they can do that, that's legal. I think they're now changing it actually. It's been legal up until 2019 or 18. But people have been like advocating for it to go away. But this was back. So my experience was probably 2013, 14. Okay. So 4 years prior, whatever. My point is they already weren't asking you for consent. And now forever, if I go to the doctor's office to get checked or if I have sex, it will always be, it will always cause emotional distress. And it's like, if you already are doing it when the girl's awake, why do you need to do it when she's asleep? You see, that's a little fucked up. That's a little fucked up. The body never forgets, baby. Okay, so that's just, we're going to do some, Dad? Yeah, it is. We're going to do some of the male parts after, once we get to like the mid mark. Sorry if that was TMI. I probably should have done a trigger warning.
Infant mortality rates and from pregnant women, and the mortality rates of the mothers, a very safe job. Very, very safe for women to have
respecting
children.
The differences is okay. Like you're doing that, that's your job, and then we've got
Thank
our
you
own
for
job. Like, that's
gifting
okay.
Yeah,
the
you
10
do. You have a
memberships,
job,
Louise. Why can't I
but
see
you
it?
demand to have also egalitarianism inside society between the sexes. And the thing is like your job is clearly far less valuable than our job, because without us maintaining the entirety of the infrastructure for which women's pampered asses can even exist inside of society, they would collapse. And how do I know this? Because I have 2,200 years of history to look at, to watch the progression of them literally folding like cheap chairs and being passed between enemy armies like it was nothing. They were literally chattel if we decided that they were. And instead, we have massive amounts of technological advancements which have allowed for women to even exist in modernity, and instead of being praised for it, men are treated like absolute garbage.
Well, I think you guys are great.
Brian, you should have brought up my video that I had responding to this.
Wait,
I had a video. I posted a video with when it asked a woman was asked who did she think was better, or who was stronger, or what were women better at than men, and she said everything. And I responded to that.
Wait, was it on the show?
No, I posted. I had response.
Is it on your Instagram or TikTok?
Yeah, it's like a 1 minute reaction.
Is it pretty? We can pull it up.
I can send it.
Also, I forgot to add, the worst part about being single is if I have to go to the doctor's office, they don't do anything. But as soon as I have a guy with me, which is crazy because guys don't even go to the doctor. So maybe while with their presence, it's like, oh shit, that's serious. But it's a huge bias. And I know for a fact that this is something that it is equivalent to a doctor saying like just drink water. That's how prevalent it is. Or they say, when was your last period? Now, on the surface, you're like, well, the period does affect like a lot of things, but it's always the first question. The period question should come before all of that. If you actually, so it's like clearly, obviously condescending to me, at least. If they asked it like, oh, so getting all that info, but they always ask it like way later. And it's like, dude, just to make me feel better, can you just ask that first? Or they ask, have you seen the video of the girl that kept her, what do you call it? It's a TMJ issue, I believe. It's when your jaw gets locked open. So you literally like crazy and it's stuck like that. And you have a male doctor taking her intake. And I found it hilarious, but like it goes with this conversation. It's like while he's typing up a report, he's asking her, when was your last period? She's like, are you, for those that don't know, when your jaw gets locked that way, it just happens. If you have some jaw issues, it can just happen out of nowhere. And if you don't know how to push it back, then you have to go. So she walks into this fucking urgent care with her mouth open. Her mom's talking on her behalf. It was funny, but it's like as soon as she gets there, he goes, okay, when was your last period? Yeah. He's like, are you married? Am I fucking married? Why would you ask that? It's just like, but it was a perfect video to explain how this shit is so prevalent. And granted, it was a dude saying it, so it was like that much funnier, but guarantee you a woman could have said that too. Because that's how like biased it is. Crazy.
Everything. Guys are super. Now, I'm not going to respond to this all crazy, but what we are going to do is create a scenario.
Also, I forgot to add, assume that it's like, why don't they take us seriously at the hospital? Let's say we took it back to like a patriarchal past or something. There's actually something to say when, and this is going to sound crazy even coming from my ass, but there's something to say that when women wore quote unquote men's property, okay? Men have never really owned a woman, but in terms of like EPAR, because it's a property crime, it sounds so dehumanizing. I see the argument for that, but knowing what we know about the sort of bias that comes today, it kind of makes a case for why women should be seen as the men's property if they're already taking men more seriously. Because then you're getting your health checked the most humane way, getting tested, all of those stuff. I don't know if that really was the best way to word it, but
thing that a male human has ever discovered, built, constructed, thought of, innovated, renovated, created, gone, obliterated, instantaneously, everywhere on the face of the planet.
True, Liam.
Advancements, transportation, the power grid, infrastructure, STEM, medicine, all of it. Gone, eradicated. Not to mention law and order and protection. I'm talking dog breeds, Newton's laws of motion and energy, held a Pythagorean theorem. Gone. Even the animals, including the predators that men drove to extinction, reintroduced.
I forgot to say, sorry. Okay. This is early for me, okay? Because, what was it? It's like the pap smears used to be every year, even if you weren't having sex. Did I emphasize that? Why the fuck aren't men having to get regular treatment? More often than not, men don't seek treatment, but there's actually a reason for this that isn't so dark. And the main reason is because men don't show symptoms for like a lot of the issues. Yeah, they're going to pass it, but they don't show symptoms. You would argue that men that are sexually active should go and get tested, but people should go and get tested. But doing where they have to scrape your uterus is so unbelievably traumatic. I wish men would go get tested more often. then there's a bias that comes to men too, gay men specific, or men who have sex with men, whatever. And that's the judgment. I wonder what the judgment is like for men. I'd have to ask them. Is it just like, oh, they treat gay men worse? I don't know. Do they tell the wife? I don't think so. Because I've heard cases where like they can see that you have HIV, for instance. This was like one case I remember in my brain, that they would have to tell you that you legally have to tell the other person. If you didn't, eventually they would tell her. Something like that. That was a long time ago though, but I'll shut up.
And now
Close
women
this
have to
door.
reconstruct society from the ground up without the aid of a man or anything that a man invented. That includes instructions as well. And women have to accomplish this either pregnant or menstruating. Men are incapable of doing anything to help. Now, what becomes of society and humanity within just 1 year?
Okay. Also, we had a chat here that came in from Theo Tokos. Thank you, man. Lumber workers have 10x higher death rates than mothers. Everything is a lie. Q, did you want to add anything to the video or?
No, it was all laid out right there.
Okay.
So this is a thought experiment,
Mm-hmm.
and it's an excellent thought experiment. And so that I've made similar thought experiments as well, and so have thousands of other people who's just kind of saying,
Okay, let's
you had a
get it.
wand and all the men were gone tomorrow for whatever reason. How could society maintain itself?
Okay, so Shane says prostate is twice a year after a certain age. Do you know what age that is? Okay. And men get their genitals checked when they go to doctors. Okay. Okay. That's good. I forgot to say, because I literally have the brain of a fucking squirrel. Now women don't have to go every year. They can go either every 3 years or anytime they have a new partner, because they realize that women aren't fucking the way y'all be thinking. But let's keep going. Shane, what country do you live in?
Absent
Ireland?
men. And when you really start to break down thought experiment, you start to dive into all the jobs that they do, everything that they're into, the distinctions in just skill-based, not to mention the physiological differences, like the fact that women really can't do a lot of the men's jobs. That's one of the big things that is a big lie too. Women really can't. They're not even physiologically equipped to be outside for long periods of time doing things like roofing, asphalt laying. Their body can't even regulate temperature the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is society, after 1 year, to answer to your thought experiment, is completely destroyed, and 99% of the life on it is gone with it. That's what I think. Or human life. I think animal
Farah,
life
you got anything
flourishes.
on that?
Oh yeah,
It's got
absolutely.
plenty to eat now.
Oh, yeah.
It's got
That's
plenty
why I
to
say
eat.
the predators that we drove to extinction reintroduced. Yep.
Farah, I thought you had thoughts on this.
You know what's interesting is that technically, like, what do you do if we're not evolved to give birth? And this is interesting. This will restore your faith in men. If you absolutely hate them, you're like, oh, they built the world. Listen to this. The reason that we have not evolved past to create a wider birth canal is technically, we should, in order to do that, we would die out in some regard, because when something's not working, you either die out or you adapt. But because we're a little bit more intelligent than that, different technologies were created, things like antibiotics. So they're still happening. But the bipedalism is the thing that gets me. It's like, what if we had the wheel? Would the baby's head still be that way? Probably not. Well, I don't know, because if you develop the wheel, then that would increase your brain size, wouldn't it? I don't know. It fucks me up. But essentially, in order to adapt to that head thing, we would have to like slow down technology. So like it's obvious that people were trying to make your life easier. Not to mention, when we become bipedalists, whatever, when you're walking on two legs and you have to walk a long time, do you think that women could keep up with that? Like if they're pregnant, they become more vulnerable to prey. I'm talking prehistoric, baby. Okay. I don't know. It's like, well, that's why we have houses. I guarantee you, okay, this is just an assumption. It's not like based on fact, but I bet you those men were like, all right, we got to create like a little space to let our hoes lie down. We got pregnant Lisa over there. That's probably not, that's not a good name, but it's like, let's let them rest so that we can go further distance, whatever. Or we have a spot that we always come back to nest. Okay. That was made for us, for sure. No doubts.
Topic.
I said you could be sexist towards men.
Oh, what? That, okay.
Yeah.
No, but what Andrew just said, like,
I guess I would
because
hesitate to put too much
you
emphasis.
dunked on me. You did a little clip on me, like, because I said, oh yeah, shit would hit the fan if all men disappeared.
He gets so mad at me because
I'm not mad at you.
commenters call him stupid.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad. I'm just reeling you into the conversation.
Now that you've had 6 months to digest our argument, you want to
What?
bring it back up.
What?
Wasn't that 6 months ago?
How's that relevant at all?
I don't know why it's fresh on
What?
your mind.
What are you talking? We're
I would-
literally talking about the topic at hand.
It just seems kind of fresh.
Yes, I'm deeply triggered by.
I want to watch
Yeah,
that.
Seeding for 6 months,
I know,
waiting.
my God.
Does anybody know what episode that is? I want to see it.
You have a show 3 times a week with 10 new people, and it just seemed like, I don't know, elephant's
came up-
memory.
it
No,
came
yeah,
up
yeah.
It's like a great
organically.
compliment that he remember it even after doing shows where there's 10
I'm just
people.
teasing him, but yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. I think like men are generally undervalued, and I think feminists do kind of absorb and regurgitate a lot of buzzwords without understanding like where those arguments actually came from in feminist literature. I would hesitate to put too much emphasis in male bronze because the labor force, you know what I mean, is shifting towards valuing brains over bronze, and I think that's why we're
That's a
seeing,
destiny argument.
I
but
didn't get it
he's-
from him.
Yeah, but he's wrong.
I didn't
And
get
just
it
like
from
you're
him.
wrong about it, it's actually not. The fact of the matter is we're not really able to replace brawn very well at all.
We have some
For instance, where's all of our robotic roofers? You ever seen one?
I'm sure we'll get there soon.
Oh, wait, really? How? How do you think that you're gonna get robot roofers to go to people's individual houses and patch roofs?
I don't know, we have like military robots now. I wasn't even
the military
disputing your
robots are
point that
gonna-
men should be valued more. I was more so just saying that like I think the reason men are struggling partly is because they're feeling like a sense of cultural redundancy because of
Do you know how many advanced airplanes we buy for the military that get destroyed as soon as they go in the air? Like right away. I encourage you all to go research that because I'm not going into it. But it's like it's always like, when we have military badge, easy. Okay, easy. That shit is not working the way it should. It's not, I mean, it's still good. I would say we're probably still up there in terms of other countries, but I'm just saying, like, when it involves some if it involves the type of labor that like the robot would have to assess, find the best solution, loophole, if you will, to fix it faster. It's like, I don't know if we're there yet. Are we, engineers? Are we there yet? I'm coming, babe.
a lot of the labor market is focusing on brains over bronze, and women are out.
Nope. What
graduating
actually
men.
happened was that women were told to go to college. College was highly overvalued. And now, as everybody can do it, the market is becoming inundated because it's tailored to the lowest common denominator. Meaning, if you lower the standards so that everybody can do it,
Need some help?
right, the standards necessarily become lower to accommodate the most amount of people. So more and more people got a college degree. The market's completely saturated with it, but it wasn't before. So women accelerated. But you'll see that gap, it's closing, and it's closing quickly. And you see the gap in pay with trades between even STEM fields. That's closing quickly too. It's going to continue to close because we can't actually get rid of the big thing, which is the brawn. The thing women can't bring to the table, which is they can't do road work. They can't do roofing. They can't do any of the really intrinsic or hard bronze-based labor.
Don't you
that
think
is
a lot of
necessary.
those jobs have diminished over time because
Nope.
now things are getting built and they're like architecture is sustaining for a long time. So I feel like those
First of all, when it comes to architecture, we have the materials. Let's take roads, for instance. We have the materials where I believe if you do it once, you would never have to do it again. or it's like at least for like 100 years or something. But there's a reason that we don't do that. It would put people out of jobs. Does that mean that we technically don't need it? I don't think so. Because let's say that you want to completely change something. I don't know. Yeah, honey. Do you need some help? Hold on. My dog needs me to help her on the bed. A little bitch. I'm
Jobs are
coming.
becoming smaller.
Top 2 jobs that you would say for men that you would want immigrants to come in and do. What do you think?
Wait, I don't understand. Wait,
What do you think
tell me
that
I'm not
male
strong?
immigrants, when they come in, right, for work, you would want more of them to come in and work and expand the economy.
Mhm.
What would you say the male immigrants usually do?
Usually do?
Mhm.
I genuinely don't know.
What would you think?
The jobs that you don't really want.
You're in California, and there's kind of something
What's the general stereotype?
famous. Yeah, the general stereotype of what immigrants who come in from south of the border are doing is what?
Tacos.
No.
I don't know if y'all have ever been to San Diego or just any part of like that's Southern California, right? I think so. Dude, the tacos are fucking fire. They got like La Jarillo, whatever it's called, the orange soda. Ooh, it's so good. But no, seriously, what do they do? What do they do? Are we going drugs? Is that Sorry. I don't Where's he going?
Something paid under the table.
They work in farms. They would literally work on farms.
In California? I guess. Ask me about farming. I know nothing. Nothing. You want to be rich one day. Let me give you a secret. I've been around the upper echelon of men. The richest ones were farmers that had their own land passed down through generations. Like agriculture is where it's at. Right, Sean?
It's like the most famous thing in California ever is that they work. It's everywhere.
But even that number is going down. Like, it used to be 90% of Americans are farmers. And my point is, like, now it's shrinking. It's my point.
Yeah. But my point to you back is that
I want men because I like the luxury of not doing shit. You know? Stop it. Stop. But if men were not here, I would be dressing like a hoe. I'd be naked all the time for sure.
ever expanding field, a necessary ever expanding field because people need to eat.
Wait,
And
expanding? The
yes,
number of-
because the amount of people that are necessary to feed the amount of people necessarily grows. So it's expanding. Now with the birth rate contraction, we might have problems with that later, and we will. But what I'm saying is that with that expansion of people comes the expansion of necessity of houses and all those other things that grow the GDP that progressives like you and Destiny would love to have happen so much, which means that no, you're going to have to actually expand the brawn. And that's what you're going to see. His projection, totally wrong. And that projection there of eliminating the brawn or moving away from brawn, that's not true. We're moving towards it again. There was a limited market saturation.
Ladies, we live in a time where your greatest arsenal in your belt, call me crazy, but you can de-escalate any male situation, any male problem by showing your tits. I don't want to work on a farm. No, nay, I need SPF. Go away. Push what? I want to be pushed in a wheelbarrow. What are you talking about? But anything that's like related, I'm all in, baby. I'm all in.
Now that's changing again.
I genuinely have not heard him say that. Like, I do my own research and reading, but
Come on.
I genuinely don't.
I'm kidding. I'm joking. That was a funny joke.
No,
You
I
could
just feel like
laugh.
I always have to wipe his piss off of me because I feel like people think because we're friends that I like absorb his arguments, but like we do not co-sign on each other's arguments.
All right.
Whatsoever.
Well, that's a Destiny argument, just so you know.
Okay.
I'm not saying that you got it from him. I'm just saying something I hear him regurgitate when he's arguing.
I mean, we probably read some of the same stuff, but yeah, like I said, I wasn't trying to undervalue the necessity for like bronze and like manual labor. I was more so saying that like I think just treating the value of masculinity as just being synonymous with bronze, I feel like is just only responding to like a very marginal percent of like what men are doing is my point, because that's going down.
Yeah, we're not really associating masculinity with brawn as much as talking about the necessity of brawn in society.
We have completely turned masculinity into a perverse idea. What time is it? 1:29. I think I might be doing another show later. I know we didn't get to that other stuff. How much time do I have? Damn it. I'm a slow bitch. Okay, I have to be somewhere by 2. I'm trying to be on time. Damn it. Like the video, comment, subscribe. I'll be back. But I have to go do this thing. I have to be on time. It's going to take me like 25 minutes to get there. I have to go. Okay. We'll be back though. Okay, bye.